How can you trust someone, particularly a person in leadership, who cannot speak the truth about the most basic facts of life and humanity? Today's topic, reality. Now, first, the Church of England says there's no official definition of a woman. Second, a man, Leah Thomas, was just nominated by the University of Pennsylvania as the 2022 NCAA Woman of the Year. We're not joking. And third, the National Women's Law Center refuses to define woman. Sadly, I'm not making any of this up. I'm David Fiorazo, and this is Christ and Culture. Recent history will go down as either ironic, moronic, or just simply baffling. We've seen a leftist Supreme Court justice unable to say what a woman is during her own Senate confirmation hearing. A radical Democrat socialist say, "The hell with the Supreme Court," after the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and she added, "Women are going to control their bodies no matter how they try to stop us." And in 1972, U.S. Olympic decathlon winner Bruce, now Caitlyn Jenner, says men should not be able to compete in women's sports. Confusing? It's difficult to predict how far this delusion will go, but there are no clear signs the celebration of moral relativism will end anytime soon. The Church of England, they recently asked what its definition of a woman is, and responded by saying there is no official definition because recent developments required, quote, additional care, end quote, when attempting to define the word. Senior Bishop Robert Innes said the definition of a woman used to be self-evident, but no longer had a simple answer. Has he read the Bible, a science book, looked at a woman? Self-evident. Anyway, the world is in trouble when a news personality in Great Britain is more in touch with truth and reality than church and government leaders. Calvin Robinson argued that providing a clear answer should not be difficult. He said this, quote, "The definition of woman is not a complex moral problem. It is a scientific and biblical truth." Next, in a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing last week, the president of the National Women's Law Center was unable to define the word woman. During a discussion about abortion and the overturning of Roe v. Wade, Fatima Gose Graves answered by deflecting and stated, "I am a woman, that is how I identify." But the NWLC leader then went on to assert that people other than women can get pregnant, and that the representative's question is silly because it undermines this apparent reality. Quote, "But I wonder, however, if in part the reason that you're asking the question is that you're trying to suggest that people who don't identify as women can't get pregnant," end quote. Now, one takeaway we can see from recent events is this apparent stumbling block. This is an apparent stumbling block for leftists. Simply answering basic questions about biology and so-called gender identity has them rattled. We'll see, or defensive, right? We'll see in November in the midterm elections how the voting public will respond to this insanity. By the way, did you see the alarming exchange last week between Senator Josh Hawley and radical Democrat at UC Berkeley law professor Kiera Bridges? Did you see this? Hawley was accused of being transphobic and causing violence to transgender people for simply asking if women can get pregnant. The exchange is so astounding you have to see it again. Watch this.
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy. I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow.
opens up trans people to violence. The college professor also declared that Senator Hawley was denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know they exist. Finally, we had an idea this was coming, but swimmer Leah Thomas has now been nominated for the 2022 NCAA Woman of the Year Award. This just a few years after competing as a male, and after this past season when he competed with women and became the first male-born athlete to win a Division I women's title. The culture-conforming NCAA stated the honor, quote, recognizes female student athletes who have exhausted their eligibility and distinguished themselves in their community in athletics and in academics throughout their college careers, end quote. We can only predict where this all might be headed. God bless you and keep speaking the truth about things that matter.